And welcome back to Applebee's Tailgate Talk here on WKAC, the Big 1080. Call or text us at area code 256-812-1848, area code 256-812-1TGT. Find us online at tailgatetalk.net. Follow our Twitter and Instagram at Tailgate Talk AL. Like our Facebook page at Applebee's Tailgate Talk. And download the WKAC app. Alongside Marky Mark, Todd the Bod, Tim, the producer extraordinaire. I'm Tom McClung, old Tomcat here. And we've got former Kentucky basketball manager John Snow Kinney. We just, we got sidetracked a little bit a while ago about the Jon Snow thing with the Game of Thrones, but we've got him in studio here, and we're going to talk Kentucky basketball. He said if we want to talk Kentucky basketball, we got to give him longer than 30 minutes. So.
Well, after that game the other night, it won't take that long. So.
I had high hopes for the Wildcats. So.
Yeah, we were talking off air about how that bracket opened up for y'all, and I really thought, man, that was a walk into the Final Four at least.
Yeah.
And but the way this tournament's been playing out, man, it's been crazy, right?
Chicago may win the whole thing.
Wouldn't it be something else?
Yeah.
Really, at this point, I'm probably rooting for them, to be honest. I don't know. But, I hate y'all got beat, but I've been loving this tournament because it's just been so unpredictable.
It has been.
You just don't know, Yeah. And That's why I think college basketball is the best sport.
Well, everybody at the beginning said this tournament is going to be more predictable than all the rest of them because you got Virginia, Villanova, all these teams that have been so dominant, and all of a sudden, Virginia goes out first.
Virginia goes. Yes. Yep.
Well, then with Arizona getting beat right out of the gate too, and which y'all would have faced.
Yeah.
Exactly. Had they won And I'm not going to lie to you, I had Arizona beating y'all on my bracket.
I did too. I'm sorry. I'm a Kentucky fan, but I didn't want to play Arizona.
And Coach Cal was even fussing about the bracket they were in.
And he should have been because, it was I remember when it came out and I was looking at it and went, oh, man, Kentucky just got jobbed.
And they are this year because, season's over, the youngest team in the SEC.
Oh, yeah.
Auburn's second youngest in the SEC. So
let me ask you this. With the way the year played out, Snow, or I'm going to call you Coach Snow because that's what I've always called you. Do you think that you're going to have – I don't see any of those kids leaving. I just don't think they're ready. So it'd be awesome for y'all if they could come back because they're just now gelling as a team.
It's funny that you asked that because as soon as the game was over, I looked at my wife. I said, I wonder how many of them are leaving.
Yeah.
And I figure Knox will leave.
Yeah,
Knox is going to go top 15.
Yeah.
Gildas Alexander, the way he played this year, is probably going to leave. At the beginning of the season, he was one that you'd never thought.
No,
we
absolutely.
thought we'd have him back. Yeah. The only other one possibly is Washington.
Oh, well,
because he's such a beast inside.
He is.
And my son came to me last night. He said, Washington cost us that game. I said, no, he didn't. No. I said, he had 18 points, 15 rebounds. We don't have him. We're not in the game.
No, absolutely not.
So, he missed a bunch of free throws, but.
Yeah, he's done that all year.
Yeah, he's done that all year. So that's not,
that
nothing new. I think maybe those three, I think there's probably a couple that are not happy that may transfer.
Really?
But, I'm not going to get into all that.
There you go.
I'm not talking to Coach Cal,
I know.
That's just my opinion.
I think Coach Cal just does such a wonderful job of getting those kids to come in and getting them to play together.
Oh, well, yeah, he does.
It's just, to me, it's one of the best coaching jobs year in, year out since he started doing this.
They keep putting the stat up. This is the 7th year, 7 out of 9 that he's been in the Sweet 16. Well, technically, if they win, it's 7 out of 9. He's in the Elite 8.
Yeah.
Because every time they went to Sweet 16, he went to the Elite 8.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, let's
swing back to the 70s.
Let's get that flux capacitor going here and get up to 88 miles an hour. And you were at Kentucky from 77 to 81, and you were the manager.
Just for 1 year.
But 1 year. But
to 78.
That's got to be a lifetime of memories.
Yeah, it is.
Tell us who the coach was, who some of the players were.
Yeah, I want to know who some of the players were.
Well, of course, Joe B. Hall was the head coach. He had taken over for Adolph Rupp, which was an impossible job for him to do.
It's like taking over for Bear Bryant.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, our big guys inside were Mike Phillips and Rick Roby. Had Jack Givens, James Lee, Truman Clater, Kyle Macy.
I was just fixing that.
Yeah, you got to have Macy though.
Well, Kyle, we can get into it if you want, but Kyle Macy was actually the cog they needed. He transferred in from Purdue.
I didn't realize that. I don't know if I knew that.
He played his freshman year at Purdue, transferred, sat out a year, and then that year was his sophomore year. And, he was the piece they were missing.
Oh, he was, and listen, first I want to say, I couldn't stand Kentucky back then. Y'all were like Auburn to me, buddy. I've learned over the years as I've gotten older to have a very good respect for Kentucky basketball. But years ago, probably 83 or so, I was at David Lipscomb basketball camp. Kyle Macy was there. Coach, who was Lipscomb's coach? It was so great for so many years.
I can't remember his name, but we used to send a lot of our kids up there to their camps.
And hard camp. It was a great camp, but it was amazing. I've never seen anybody shoot a basketball like that. Yeah. Of course, from the free throw line, he was, 98 or whatever, amazing percent.
Wipe the socks.
Yeah, wipe them socks. Yeah, man. Heck yeah.
Snow, let's talk about your experience during that year and what led you to actually be in that position with Kentucky as a manager.
Well, what led me to be a manager, I didn't play basketball in high school. I loved the game. I was fat, overweight. I tried out in the 7th grade. I'll be honest, I got cut.
Same here.
Yeah. But the coach that coached the middle school for us, I went to Pleasure Ridge Park High School in Louisville, Kentucky. He saw how much I loved the game. So he came to me afterwards. He said, "Have you ever thought about being a manager?" Well, I had no idea what a manager was. He said, "What you'll do is you'll help me, you'll take care of the equipment and stuff like that." And I said, "Well, yeah, I'd love to do that." So that's how I got started being a manager. I did that through my whole high school career. I became the head varsity manager in the 8th grade, and so I was that for 5 years. And our basketball coach at Pleasure Ridge Park, Gary Schaefer.
Pleasure Ridge Park, excuse me, where's that at?
It's in Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Pleasure Ridge Park High School. And Gary Schaefer helped Joe B. Hall work his summer camps. And so he talked to them that summer about, "I've got a guy at my school I think would be a great manager for you all. He's been doing it for me for years." And so the next year they called me up and said,
"That's awesome.
Be on our staff." And so that's how I got started being a manager at Kentucky.
And how old were you?
18.
18 years old.
Yeah, it was my freshman year of college. And it was mind-blowing, to be honest. You're doing all this stuff in high school, and I'm basically in control. All of a sudden now I get to Kentucky, and it's a machine.
Yeah.
And the managers run the practice. We got managers stationed all over the gym, and we know how many balls we're going to need for these drills, and we know what's going on here and this and that. And, buddy, if something goes wrong, it ain't the player's fault.
You heard
it's the manager's fault.
And, I'm glad you said that, because I was just going to say, a lot of people don't realize how much work that stuff, They just think you're just handing somebody a bottle of water and going into the house.
And see, we practice at Memorial Coliseum.
Yep.
But we play our games at Rupp Arena. So, okay, on Friday, we get through at practice. We got to move all that equipment from Memorial down to Rupp Arena and get everything set up for the game for the next day.
Well, and speaking of it being on you and not the players, let's talk about you're an 18-year-old kid, and you've got these very, very talented guys from all over the country at Kentucky.
Yeah.
What's your experience with them as players? Because, of course, you would have what I would say prima donnas sometime, and then you'd have your guys who were just the work hard ethic guy, just out there just trying to make it. What was your experience with the players during that year?
Well, at the beginning, I didn't really have a whole lot of relationship with them at all, because we were in the background. But as the year goes along, especially the freshmen, you start talking to them. Freddie Cowan was a freshman. Jay Scheidler was a freshman. And so you get to know them a little better, but then the older guys warm up to you as you go along. Yeah. But like Rick Roby.
They didn't haze you first, right?
No.
Okay.
No. I'd have to say the best of the group that I got along with the best and saw more after I left Kentucky was Jack Givens. And James Lee was another one. I ran a basketball camp at a church in Louisville after I moved back up there, and James Lee would come and work that camp with me, so the kids could get autographs and stuff like that. The guys were fantastic, but we had a pool room and we had a game room. We had all this stuff for the players to do, And I'll just be honest, more than one occasion, I got called back in the pool room when I was supposed to be working. Playing games and stuff with the players.
A requirement you just had to meet.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of the job.
Tim Stevens was another one, and he's the one that I would usually be back there shooting with when I got in trouble. And Bill Kitely, I don't know if y'all remember that name. Bill Kitely was a legendary equipment manager at Kentucky. He was there while Adolph Rupp was there. Joe B. Hall was there all the way up through Patino.
Oh, wow.
And Bill he ran everything. You know, we did stuff for Bill, but Bill was orchestrating this whole thing. And I remember the first time I got caught in the pool room, I thought I wasn't going to be a manager anymore because Bill Kitely lit me up. It was not.
We don't need to go into detail.
No, he did not use nice words. Okay, let's put it that way. So.
He made it clear that that's not where
I was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And not to ever do it again.
You know, Snow, we've seen championships. We've seen Alabama win championships, Kentucky win championships. That experience doesn't take place without everybody that's involved with the program. From a manager's perspective, and I know that you were on a championship team, what was the experience for you as a manager after that season of work that you put in and the feeling that you had winning that championship?
Oh, I was ecstatic. Of course, as a freshman manager, we didn't get to travel. So I was watching the games at my mom's house, you know.
Oh, wow.
But when it was all over and we had won, of course, I was at the airport when they flew in with the whole crowd there.
Thousands, really.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And then the best part about it, though, was a few days later, they had just built Wildcat Lodge for the players, which now is considered illegal.
Yeah.
You got to let everybody live there.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah. Now, actually, if you want to know the truth, I'm the one that swept the floors and picked up all the debris and stuff where they were building the place.
Really?
That was one of our jobs, too.
Wow, that stinks.
But anyway, it got finished. You know, while the season was going on, so the players moved in. Well, when the tournament was over, we had won. We're all in the basement of Wildcat Lodge watching the replay. Big, huge screen. You know, those didn't exist then.
That's what I was fixing to say.
Big screen, and we're kind of.
It wasn't a bed sheet.
Yeah, exactly.
UK didn't play around. Let's just say that, guys.
So of course we're playing Duke in the national championship game, and we're beating them pretty good. Well, they start coming back. Near the end of it, we're watching, and they call timeout. And Al McGuire was the announcer.
Yeah, I loved Al McGuire.
He gets on there. He says, right now, he said, Coach Joe B. Hall's in that huddle, and he's telling them this, and he's telling them that. You know, he goes through all these details and all this. And Coach Hall looks up, and he looks around at all the players in the room. He goes, man, that's a good idea. I wish I'd have thought of that.
That is awesome. But I can remember about Wildcat Lodge and how and then I don't remember what year it was. It was, a few years after you left, but just I remember the players had phones in their room, and they weren't. There was just little things that were supposed to be, not whatever.
Not allowed.
And I remember going, "That's right, nail them, man, nail them."
At that time, it was a recruiting advantage.
Yeah, recruiting advantage. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Snow, what did you go on to do with yourself after that experience and moving out of college?
Well, when I left Kentucky, I moved back to Louisville, and I ended up moving back in with my mother. My stepfather got sick with cancer, so I moved back in with her. And so I was living in Louisville, and then I met a young lady from Athens, Alabama.
Sitting over here, not far by.
Graduate of 1983.
From Athens High
School, yes.
But of course, we started dating. We got married. Well, if you marry a girl from Athens,
you got to come back to
moving to Athens.
Yeah.
So
best city on earth.
We know better than to move.
So that's what we did. And we moved back here, and I was running my own business out of the house, and I had some free time, and she mentioned to me about substitute teaching. So I decided, I'll do that. So I started subbing. We bought a house out in East Limestone, and I was subbing at different schools, but I had it in my mind I wanted to just stay at East. So ended up working out. I got a really good deal. I became a sub-scheduler, for lack of a better word. So I was at the school every day. Well, Donnie Story was the head coach at then.
Oh, yeah.
I think we know him.
I think y'all know who Donnie is. And so I went up to Donnie, and I just told him, I said, I love basketball. Is there anything I can do to help you? He said, I need an announcer. I don't have an announcer for the games this year. I said, okay, great. So I announced the home games for that year. Well, the next year he needed a middle school coach. He said, would you be interested in volunteering and being my middle school coach? I said, well, yeah. I'm all excited, fired up, and then I get to thinking, I ain't never coached a day in my life. What am I going to do?
You'd already agreed, right?
But I'd already
you locked in.
Well, and at the same time, though, Dwayne Usselton, which everybody knows, Dwayne had come there to teach, and so he was coaching the freshman team. So Dwayne helped me a whole lot through that, and so did Donnie. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, when Dwayne became the head coach, I still stayed with the middle school. And then when Chad became the head coach, I stayed with the middle school. And I did that for about 10 years. I coached the middle school boys for about 10 years and just
did a great job.
Loved every minute of it. Just loved it. But it's funny because through that process, I caught myself being a manager again because I felt like my job as a middle school coach was to support the varsity coach. So filling out the book, getting everything ready for the games, all that kind of stuff. He didn't need to worry about that.
Wow.
He needed to worry about coaching the game.
Yeah, what an asset to be able to do that.
And so I tried my best to do all that stuff for him, but I loved every minute of it. I love East Limestone. Somebody asked me the other day, not to be, it's a friend of mine from church that I don't forgot his name, but anyway, he said, "Are you still an East guy?" He said, or are you moving to Athens? I said, no, sir. I said, I'm an East guy. I said, I'll be an East guy till I die. I said, now, I wasn't born an East guy,
that's right.
But I'm an adopted East guy.
That's right.
So,
you're a son of the East.
I'm a son of the East. There you go. There you go.
And of Kentucky.
Obviously,
you're wearing your blue today.
And you can't mention East Limestone without Jimmy Drake. I used to love sitting in the gym. He'd come to every practice, sit on the bleachers, talking to Jimmy Drake about stuff I could do to make my middle school teams better. I mean, you talking about somebody's brain to pick.
Yes.
Who else? Who's better than Jimmy Drake to pick their brain about winning basketball games? So.
Yep. Miss old Jimmy. So Jay's over here pulling up some good stuff that I had never seen before. So Leonard Hamilton and Joe Dean Jr. assistants there. I did not know Joe Dean Jr. was an assistant at that point. I guess age-wise, I just wasn't thinking about that. So, man, they learned from the best and went on to have really good.
Yeah, Florida State's in the Elite Eight.
Yeah,
Hamilton's
there we go.
got them in the Elite Eight. So,
but I did not know that. So that is, how did the players react to them, and how much did they do as far as, or what were their responsibilities?
Oh, they did. They did a lot. Coach Hall was really good at letting his assistants kind of run the practices.
Good.
You know, he'd step in if he had to, but for the most part, they all had their responsibilities, and that's what they did. And it was funny. One drill that we ran, which I actually brought to my middle schoolers, and a lot of the parents didn't like it, but you get the football blocking dummies. You know, I mean, we got these guys.
Oh, yeah, you do that up under the gun.
These are all Americans. You know, Rick
Heck
Roby's
yeah.
6'10", Mike Phillips 6'10", Freddie Cowan, who's the freshman, is 6'8", but he's skinny. Well, we used to beat the tar out of Freddie. And so when we did, Coach Hall would yell at him. But we get those blocking dummies, you know, and they'd have to post up.
Yep.
So our job, there's two managers on one player.
Oh, okay.
We're beating him.
Yep.
I mean, we're not just pushing on him. We're swinging these things. And well, all of a sudden, we knock the ball away from Freddie. Coach Hall blows the whistle, makes him run the stairs. We're practicing at Rupp this day. Makes him run the stairs all the way to top of Rupp Arena and back. Well, Freddie gets back down. He's mad at us. You know, he ain't mad at Coach Hall. He's mad at us. The next time they throw it in there to post, the head manager is behind me, and I heard him go, duck. And I ducked, and about that time, here come that elbow coming around, man, because he was fixing to clock us.
That's what he needed, though.
It made him a really good. I'm not going to say that made him. He turned into a really good,
but that helped a lot.
Well, it's such a different game. You know, trying to teach the middle school kids that when you get to JV, it's a whole different game. Yeah. When you get from JV to varsity, it's a whole different game. And when you get from varsity to even small college, but if you go from high school basketball to a place like Kentucky, son, that's like living on another world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and speaking of that, you mentioned Rupp Arena, and Coach Hall followed. He was the predecessor of Adolph Rupp, and the experience with that and what the expectations were at Kentucky for him.
Yeah.
You can talk a little bit about that and what Coach Rupp meant to Kentucky, and then what Coach Hall was able to do to follow, because a lot of coaches have a tough time coming in behind somebody like that and creating the same environment.
Well, and Coach Hall had that problem because, they forced Coach Rupp out.
Yeah.
They made him retire because of some university rule. And so Coach Hall was really in a no-win situation, but he won anyway, which was impressive. And, the Kentucky people loved him because he's there from Cynthiana, Kentucky. And the
homeboy.
Yeah, he's a home guy. And but I think Coach Hall did a fantastic job. I mean, he wins one national championship.
Yeah.
He's in a couple other Final Fours, and I don't know what more he could have done to follow somebody like Adolph Rupp.
You're following somebody like that, it's tough. But I'm going to tell you a quick Joe B story, and I think I've said it on here before. But so in '83, I had a friend of mine, John Harlow. His mom carried me and Charles Woodruff, who's the probate judge, and a couple of my buddies to the SEC tournament at Rupp. And actually, we beat y'all.
I was at that tournament.
Were you at that tournament? So we beat
so
y'all.
he knows what you're.
There we go.
They get beat.
So we beat y'all on the last second shot there at the buzzer. But we were going to our cars, just me and John. John's about 6'6". Here I am, 5'5", and we're walking by a parking garage, and this car comes, not zipping out fast, but kind of coming out because it was up a little ramp. Had to stop because we were right there. And I turn over there, and who is it? Joe B. Hall.
You almost got run over by Coach Hall.
I almost got. Boy, that would have been sweet. Yeah. But then I would own Rupp Arena. No, I'm teasing. Yeah. But I wanted so bad. Like I told John, I said, I'm finna say something because I didn't like him. He's like, don't you dare, whatever. So I kept my hands to myself, and I didn't, and we just waved or whatever. But I thought, I don't know why. I guess being that young, I just thought that was weird. That, hey, man, the coach is driving himself home like anybody else would, right? I guess, you think, man, the Kentucky coach would have a driver or limo or something. But that was a great experience, man. And the fans, if nobody's ever been to Rupp Arena or to a Kentucky basketball game, that's like if y'all had won yesterday, tomorrow.
Well, even Thursday night was like a home game.
That's what I'm saying.
That's another reason why I can't believe we lost.
And I love the ACC tournament being in Nashville, but at the same time I don't because it's just a sea of blue. You can't get a ticket for squat. I mean, it is unbelievable.
So we're winding everything down, getting to the top of the hour. So you got to tell us before we go the story about the orange.
Okay. Well, my primary job, other than getting the equipment and stuff ready, is on game day. We had to set up the visitors' locker room, which they had fresh fruit, they had food, gum, candy. We'd set all that up for the visiting team and for the referees. And then my job the rest of the day was I was the guy in the end zone underneath the goal. When a player fell, you're on the floor with a towel drying it up.
Right.
Okay.
That guy.
So we're playing Tennessee. Big Orange.
Yeah.
Okay.
At home. Home game.
At home. Okay. Yeah, we're at Rupp Arena. So at that time, it was standard to throw oranges onto the floor, whether it was a Memorial Coliseum, wherever. If Tennessee was there, you threw oranges. No. That's all. That's the whole. So here come the oranges flying out of the stands. Well, as managers, our jobs are we got to get out there and get that stuff wiped up. Referees have at least blown the whistle, stopped the game. Well, I run out, I get to the foul line, and I bend down to clean up this orange that is hit. And another one hits right in front of my face, splatters orange juice up in my face.
Oh, no.
And I'm sitting there, I'm shaking my head trying to get the juice off, but I'm still wiping, you can't stop. And then I get back underneath the goal after we got it all cleaned up, and I thought, boy, if that orange would have hit me in the head, I'd have been laid out flat in the middle of Rupp Arena waiting for the ambulance to come pick me up.
That was probably on TV, too, that game, I would think.
Well, you'd rather have a little cutie hit your head than a Tangelo or something like that.
These were big. These were the big oranges.
Yeah. From now on, we're having little cuties.
That's right. Yeah.
To keep from being knocked out.
Just throw the orange slices, okay?
The candy slices. Exactly. So you can just catch them in your mouth,
Exactly.
That's great. Coach Snow, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, Dave. This has been awesome.
Don't be a stranger. Let's do this again next year before the tournament starts. That way we can all maybe do a bracket or something.
Heck yeah.
Sounds great.
Thank you, Snow.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've at the top of the hour. We got another hour left to go. Hang around. You're listening to Applebee's Tailgate Talk on WKAC, the Big 1080.